are doing 11-2, the Pythagorean theorem. You guys did this last year. You're going to need it for high school placements. You're going to need it for ISAT. So we're going to go over it. We're moving on to chapter 11. We're doing 11-2 today. So a couple of things to remember. You need to remember that a right triangle is a triangle with a 90-degree angle, and that within the right triangle you have two legs. Those are your shortest sides, and then you have a hypotenuse, and that's your longest side, and that is always opposite of the right angle. Okay? And remember, the right angle usually has that little square down there. I didn't know how to make that happen. Okay? So we're going to write it in there for ourselves. I just didn't know how to do it on the computer. Okay, first of all, Pythagorean theorem. In any right triangle, the sum of the squares of the length of the legs is equal to the square of the length of the hypotenuse, which means a whole lot of nothing when you say it that way, right? Okay, here's what it really means. What it really means is they're saying that this leg right here, squared, plus this leg right here, squared, will always equal your hypotenuse squared. Okay, that's what that means. Does that make sense? Okay? So if we do some problems, so tomorrow this is what your homework's going to look like. You've got some problems that we're going to use, and we're going to find the missing side using the Pythagorean theorem. First of all, notice we're going to be rounding our answers to the nearest tenths. Go get them. Okay, so we're going to find the missing length to the nearest tenth of a unit. So whenever I have a right triangle and I'm trying to find a missing side, I'm going to use the Pythagorean theorem to make that happen. Okay, so here's our first question right here. We're looking for C. We're going to write down our formula. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. Now I'm going to drop in the information that I know. If you look at this, I'm looking for C. I need to drop in my A and my B. Okay? A and B are interchangeable. It doesn't matter. I could put the 8 in for A, or I could put the 11 in for A. It doesn't make a difference. What's important is that your hypotenuse is always C. Okay? So you do have to remember that. So I'm going to put in my 8 for my A, so 8 squared. Put my 11 in for my B, and equals C squared. And now I'm going to solve. Well, what is 8 squared, you guys? What's 8 squared? What's 8 times 8?
64.
Okay, 64. Plus, what's 11 squared? So remember, you want to know this one for tomorrow for our quiz. 121 equals C squared. And now I'm going to solve. So I'm going to take that 64 plus 121. What is that when I add those together?
185.
185 equals C squared. Now, is my C by itself yet?
No.
No, there's a squared there, right?
Yeah.
How would I undo a square? So think about it. When we were doing equations, and we did, like if I said, how do you undo addition, you said?
Subtraction.
And if we had multiplication, we'd undo it with division. How do we undo squaring?
The square root.
Square root, exactly. So I'm going to take the square root because that undoes the squaring. It gets my C by itself, but remember with equations, whatever I do to one side, I must do to the other side. So what is the square root of 185? What is that? You guys can sit down if you want to get some of this, if you have your notes.
14.
Okay? Now we're rounding to the nearest tenth, so what is it?
14 because it's 13.6.
Okay, so it's 13.6 you're telling me?
Yep.
And then if there's no label, so it doesn't tell us feet or inches, so there's no measure or unit of measurement, remember we're just going to use U for unit. We know it's some unit, we just don't know what it is, but you're going to make sure you label with the U. Okay? Let's do number 2 together. Again, I'm going to write down my formula. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. Now, notice that I put an X up here, and I did that on purpose because they're going to do this sometimes to you, and then it confuses people. because the reason it confuses you, you're like, wait a minute, my formula has an A, B, and C, why are they putting an X there? Just change it to an A, B, C if you want to, okay? This one here, however, has to be what? The 8 has to be what letter? C, right? Okay, this one, let's just change that to our B, okay? So 5 squared plus the B squared equals, I'm going to put in my 8 for my C. What's 5 squared?
25.
Plus my B squared equals, what's 8 squared?
64.
Okay? Now, how do I get B by itself? Because I need to solve or get B by itself. What do I need to do?
Square root.
Hey, not yet, hang on.
Subtract the 25.
Absolutely, I've
Bye-bye.
got to subtract off that 25. So Sean, you're just a little bit ahead of me. I have B squared equals, well, what's 64 minus 25?
39.
Now, Sean, I need to get rid of the squared. What am I going to do?
Square root.
Square root, square root. So I end up with B is equal to, what is the square root of 39 rounded to the 10th place? What is that?
6.2.
6.2 what?
4.
Yes, but label. Give me a label because we're at the 10th place.
U.
Nope, inches because it gives it to us this time, okay? Okay, if you need to go, go. If you can stay, stay.
Announcement, Homework Club will be in Ms. Opperly's room tonight. Teachers and students, please remember to return blood donor sheet by Friday, February 5th. Teachers, if you have not viewed Marzano webinar for this faculty meeting, there will be a showing tomorrow at 3 o'clock in the library.
That was found in the
Classic four game
volleyball
against
bus or
Western
something.
Sacramento will be played here tomorrow at 3:45. It will not be an away game. Any questions, please see Coach McFarland. We have 2 pairs of glasses in the office.